Welcome to Property Talks with Ankit. And in this show, we'll try to understand the challenges and the trends that currently we are facing with real estate. And in this show, we have our guest, Mr. Manoj. And Manoj has 20 years of experience in the IT sector of US, and an additional 12 years he's been working as the owner of Agarwal Estates in Bangalore. So, welcome, Manoj. Welcome to this show, first of
Thank
all.
you.
And with this show, we would like to understand that the challenges that the Bangalore market, and also you have experience working across the India, what the challenges are there in terms of customers and brokers and the real estate companies. So we would be going in deep with these topics. Okay. So
Sure.
to begin with, I like to first start with that, how you got into real estate first. I know, you were into the IT industry and then suddenly you shifted to the real estate industry. So can you give understanding about that?
So I can call it accidental real estate agent basically.
Okay.
So what happened? There was no plan to start a business.
Yes.
There was no plan to quit the job.
Okay.
It just happened. I left my last job
Okay.
and pretty much decided not to have any more job in India.
Okay.
So that was the mindset.
Okay. So you basically did not want to continue with any job, and that was the reason that you got to real estate. Okay.
Because of corporate politics.
Okay, corporate politics. So when
At the top.
you entered, you have around 10 to 15 years of experience working in India, right, as a real estate owner, right? So maybe you started somewhere around, I guess, 2010 or something, 2010, 10,
2012.
2012. Yes, so 2012, it's again a very long time back, considering what we see that the recent changes that have happened in the last 10 years, especially speaking of the internet thing, right? In the 2012, there was no internet basically. It was not as wide as it is now. So, what changes have you observed, and what changes you have seen in the last 10 years when you started your work? How was the internet impacting the business from the customer's angle and how they were searching the property and versus today? So what is the change that you have seen?
See, I would say actually by the time when I started, there were many entrepreneurs, many like 99 acres,
Yes, they
magic
were.
bricks, common
Yes.
floor.
Yep.
They were extremely popular.
Mhm.
And especially in Bangalore market, the people are very tax heavy compared to rest of India.
Yeah,
Bangalore is
absolutely.
so oldest Silicon Valley of the world, right?
Right,
After
right.
Bay Area, correct? So
Yes.
adoption was there. So whenever an entrepreneur come up with a tech product in property market, it was very well observed. But
Right.
at the same time, there was a resistance for change from the builder side. They did not see much value in investing in the IT projects.
Mm.
So that part have now changed completely post RERA and COVID, right? So builder
Mm.
have also invested heavily to bring IT as one of their core vertical in any organization.
Mm.
Third, at that time, if you see, it was more like desktop driven web applications, right? So Magic Bricks. But now a lot of app has come up,
Mm.
make the journey much more convenient for the end user. So
Right.
earlier that part was also missing, right? And besides, right, the government laws, which have also enabled the PropTech regulation in India. I'll give you a couple of examples.
Yes.
Digital signature.
Digital.
Initially, signature.
Digital signature. Yes.
Initially, it was a lot of restrictions were there, right? Only what kind of documents can be signed, right?
Right.
So sale agreement was excluded. Power of
Mm.
attorney was excluded, right? So power of attorney also now also, but then the rental agreement part. So those things also is enabled. Then if you look at the digital stamp, earlier we used to buy the e-stamp, right? First there was a stamp, then e-stamp come. One person has to go to the physical office, is sponsored by the government to buy the e-stamp paper.
Right.
He will have to get in the queue, wait, then typing mistakes on the name. I will type something in the physical form. He will submit to there. That person will type something, and then the e-stamp paper is wrong now, right? Once we
Right.
come back, then realized now there's an option you can buy the digital stamp paper electronically directly. So
Right.
we have an API in our platform called ZeroChaos,
Mhm.
where from the stockholding corporation, we ourselves can log into the system, fill up the information of the tenant and the owner, or the
Mhm.
buyer and the seller, and then we
Mhm.
can buy the stamp paper instantly. So that physical requirement of going to the site has gone right completely now.
Mhm.
So
Right.
a lot of those things come. Escrow payment was missing earlier online. It
Right.
was there, lot of restrictions by RBI.
Mm.
Bank would charge a lot of money for the escrow services.
Right.
Now that also resolved, right? So RBI has made some relaxation. It's more from available. So internet and technology have made a lot of changes. It will continue to do so more. Look at the owner registrations. Schedule started. I think now the government is behind to get the entire legal document digitized. Second part, government is also trying to mark all the properties, right? The call paid property ID number. So if
Mm.
that happens, the legal hassles will come down significantly. So a lot of changes are coming in this space. So I'm very excited about it.
All right. And, I'm just curious that, as you had your experience working in the IT sector primarily, as you mentioned that in the Dell and HPs, right? And then when you shifted to the real estate industry, how difficult it was for you to go from a technical background to completely, which is non-technical, real estate primarily is a very non-technical job. So, how did you adapt yourself to that, completely different things?
So being a Marwadi, I had certain advantage. Because what happens, all your friends are already an entrepreneur, right?
Okay.
Since your childhood, you see how the business get done.
Right.
So my issue was not from an employee to an entrepreneur. That was challenge always there.
Hmm.
My issue was the entire ecosystem,
Okay.
right? The issue is with of course, with the brokers as well,
Mm-hmm.
with the builders as well, with the government as well, right? The
Mm-hmm.
entire ecosystem. It was not structured at all.
Okay. Yeah,
And
yeah.
when there's a perception, right, that if you don't have anything else to do, then you become a broker. And
True.
unfortunately, the mindset of the customer was that also. If they
Yes.
reach out to broker, they come into the same mindset, right? If
Right.
you are a broker, means you are less qualified, less knowledgeable, you could not find
Right.
anything, and
Right.
expectation from a broker was very, very low.
You're right.
Correct? So my issue came at that point of time because I am qualified person by education. I had the domain knowledge. I care about my customer, right? And when the time for the payment came from the customer, this is where I struggled for last 4, 5, 6 years,
Mm.
right? Because they will try to negotiate on the agreed
Negotiate.
service fee,
Right.
right?
True.
Lot of time they didn't pay.
Mm.
They won't pick up the call, right?
True.
Second thing, since they don't value broker as a profession at that time,
Correct.
if they say they'll come at 2 p.m., they won't show up, right?
True.
They'll come at 3 p.m., they'll come at 4 p.m. So those were the real challenges basically, right? How to convince them that, look, you come at 2 p.m., I'll be there at 2 p.m., correct?
There's
And
respect both
some
everybody's time.
and sometimes what happened, unfortunately, the customer came at 2 p.m.
Huh.
and my team member could not reach at 2 p.m. Right?
Okay.
He got delayed. Whatever could be the reason, right? Now he's more upset with me.
That's true.
Correct. Okay, look, you said you'll come at 2, but nobody's there.
Hmm.
Right? So
Correct.
those were the real challenge starting to process with basically. Now why we
And
got delayed from 2 to 3 p.m. There's an earlier visit at 11 a.m. assume. That customer
okay.
came at 12 noon. So he
Hmm.
got delayed by an hour. Then the traffic jam, whatever happens, right? So
Hmm.
those were the real challenges.
And when you started your new profession in the real estate, so did you have anybody in your family or friends who were already working in the real estate so that you can gain there some experience, or you started completely new, and what was that about?
So I did not had any godfather in this space, but
Okay.
When I was in US, I was interested in investing in real estate. So I have invested my money in US also.
Okay.
And before coming to India also.
Okay.
So I had the exposure, I had the experience, right?
Mm.
And lot of time, my friend circle will come and reach out to me,
Mm.
right? Ki Manoj, I'm going to look for a house. Why don't you join and help me out, right? Just
True.
to see. So I knew enough to be dangerous. So I knew the problem. I did not know the solution, but I had some vague idea. Ki this is
Okay.
right, this is wrong,
Mm.
right? And I had a
Correct.
good habit for quite some time to read books.
Okay. Okay.
So read all sorts of books.
Right.
So so I had, and there's a book I read called Discover Your Strength.
Discover your strength.
Strengths. And
Okay.
what this book talks about, ki if you have the right attitude, right skill set, right, you
Uh-huh.
can pick up any knowledge. So that gave me a lot of confidence. I knew that to run a business, this skill set required.
Mm.
I had those skill set. I did not have the domain knowledge of real estate that can be acquired easily. So that's what I thought, Kitik. I fill up all of the gaps except the domain
Mm.
knowledge,
So
which I got
basically,
fair idea. I pick up the knowledge.
started learning everything from yourself, and then. So now, what is the current position like? As you also mentioned that you have some team members as well. So, what is your team size right now, and how the growth has been?
So right now we have around 47 people working for us. We call them A family, and all the team members are highly trained both on domain knowledge as well as on soft skills basically. So we
Mm.
have a program every Tuesday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Either there's a team meeting or there's a training.
Mm.
So this is going on for last 6-7 years.
And do you work only in the Bangalore or also outside Bangalore, like in other parts of the country
O-
as well?
only Bangalore, and let me repeat you without asking, there's no plan to go beyond Bangalore. Bangalore
Okay.
itself is a huge market. If somebody want to capture, right?
Mm.
No point going to other cities at this point of time.
Yeah, yeah, obviously there's a lot of projects and a lot of things to do in Bangalore. So, I just want to understand one thing, as you already mentioned that, when you started that, people don't, especially the buyers, they don't treat the broker, as like it's a very good profession, especially some time back. So, the main thing that I understand is the trust, right? Which is like the most people think they know how they can trust with such a big deal. So, what do you think that, how the trust and the transparency is a very important part, and what the people who are into the real estate industry right now, and as you also said that you teach your team members about this. So what do you think people can implement that, so that there is a lot of transparency and people should trust them, how they can achieve that?
So we have something called, we call it our initiative called Key Series, KEY.
Mhm.
Knowledge empowers you.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll tell you where this challenge came from. Suppose one customer came to me. He
Mm-hmm.
has already finalized a property from some other agent, some other property. And a
Mm-hmm.
trustworthy friend came to me asking my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And my opinion was not to buy that property because of
Okay.
XYZ reason. Okay. He left thanking me, but later on I came to know he went ahead and bought that property.
Okay.
And his comment was Manoj was trying to cancel his deal, okay, so that he can help me to get one more property through my own connection. So
Okay.
basically, I will make money if he cancel that deal and find something for my inventory. So, but
Right.
actually, it was not true. That was a failed project.
Okay.
Okay, we know actually in the market we stay, right. Okay, this builder has
Mm-hmm.
got financial issues, right?
Mm.
Luckily for me, two things happened. One, that project never took off,
Okay.
right? After a year, he realized that part. Second thing, lesson I learned, if somebody who's so close to my heart, we were very close friends. If
Mm.
he can think that way, that money have changed me, right? Is
Mm.
the one come asking for this thing suggestion. I give my honest opinion, right? What about the people who don't even know me? Why they will trust me?
Mm.
So this is where we have a initiative called Key Series. So what we do there, what is right, what is wrong.
Hmm.
We have made a list of a checklist and documentation for everything,
Mm-hmm.
where it's in writing, it is written there, these things you should look for, these things you should avoid for. So now if the same friend comes or an unknown person comes, okay, Manoj, I am buying a property through some other agent, what should I do? I'll tell them, look, go to my website, you'll find this document, download it, read it, right? It says both pros and cons, and see if your property is matching with those parameters, then go ahead. If it does not match, you think about it and take a call
Okay.
accordingly.
Hmm.
Now, instead of me telling now, if it's already pre-printed document,
Right.
that means I'm not trying to manipulate him. And I also tell
Hmm.
them, if the points which are written there, does it make sense to you?
Hmm.
If it does, then apply. If it
Right.
doesn't, then ignore my advice.
Right.
So that changed the entire paradigm shift. That look now, for me
Hmm.
also, for my team member also, right?
Hmm.
They cannot misguide a customer
Right.
because everything documented. For customer also, he knows now, right? We are not trying to misguide him. We have
Hmm.
given everything upfront in writing,
Right.
right?
So
So
what
now
is?
what? So
Yeah. Yeah.
just one
Please.
second. So now whatever service you take from us,
Hmm.
we have 4 5 page document. We call it
Okay.
key series, and then we have a detailed document of 20 page called white paper.
Okay.
If you want to go further deep on those points, right? So
Hmm.
before we start interacting with the customer, these two documents we share with all the customers for their
Okay.
vertical. Now the customer is well informed what is right, what is wrong, right? And
Hmm.
then now we can talk at the same level basically. Whatever my knowledge I've shared with you, I'll show you the property based on those parameters.
Hmm.
So that is helping us to establish the trust.
Oh, that's very
And that
interesting.
document also proves, right, our domain knowledge,
Right. Right.
right?
Absolutely.
I've given writing.
So what exactly is written in the key document? So how exactly that helps the customer to figure out whether its property is right or wrong. So if you can give me some important points out of that.
Yeah, sure. So before
And
we go
also
into
an
that part,
also an addition question to that is, so that document, I believe it's like it should be in the public domain, right? Open. So why not your competitors like just copy the document, make it
so I,
so?
I I strongly I strongly believe in a concept called be a better you. So I focus on myself and my team, right? I'm least bothered about what the competition does. And
All
I
right.
honestly I don't even check what they do, what they don't do actually.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So I am not in rat race with anybody.
All right.
करेक्ट कि वो
So
ज्यादा कमा लिया मैंने कम कमाया ये क्या मैं जाता ही नहीं उस दिशा में राइट टुडे
okay.
दिस इज माय कैपेबिलिटी टुमारो आई शुड डू बेटर देन माय टुडे दैट्स इट राइट
Absolutely.
नाउ
Absolutely.
कमिंग बैक टू द point here right so one
Yeah.
more thing I would like to add before I answer that question is if I'm giving you everything in writing not just
Hmm.
about domain knowledge right it also help me to bring a point to my customer okay look I care about you right I have put up so much of effort to
Hmm.
write these points for you right so now
Hmm.
something handy, correct? Domain knowledge shows up, caring part shows up, trust part shows up. Now let's give an example. If you want to buy a property on resale, right? The people are confused at that point of time ki how it will turn right, what needs to be done, what is the timeline, what are the expenses. So first time when a buyer or a seller comes to us, first email we send them it called sales process flow.
Hmm.
If you want to sell a property, these are the key high level steps. Same
Yes.
thing for the buyer. These are 5 steps, right? Agreement to sell, sale deed, registrations, home loan, legal, negotiation, penalty, right? All those things,
Hmm.
right? In a simple 4 page document.
Right.
And then the fifth page will have a flow chart,
Hmm.
including the timeline, which process takes what how much time frame,
Hmm.
right? Now, suppose you are a seller, you want to sell of
Hmm.
your own,
Hmm.
right? Then we will guide you the document which you have, right? It look,
Hmm.
you can go to these websites, you search for these parameters, you will know what is the market price for these properties, right? Then
Hmm.
it talks about if a magic bricks or 90 acres quoting say 1 CR for that price, then
Hmm.
don't assume 1 CR is the price. It's a
Okay.
some kind of a number you have in your mind now, right? So
Right.
typically the quoted price is 10% more than the uh, realistic, realistic price.
Mm.
Second thing, suppose some agent is posted कि I want to sell for 1 CR. Correct.
Mm.
Call the same agent and reverse your role. Look, I want to buy. What price you can give me? If he
Mm.
says I can get to 90 lakh rupees,
Right.
right? So now you know, right? The agent who's saying 1 CR on sale, same
Mm.
agent saying I'll give you 90 lakhs on this thing, right? So
Right.
right price is on 90 lakh rupees, not 1 CR.
True.
So that helps the seller to educate himself pricing trend. Same thing
Mm.
with the buyer. Suppose I want to buy a property, right? What are things we should look for, right? And what should be the priority? Amenities, location, builders' reputations, right?
Mm.
Which floor to buy, what is Vastu compliance,
Mm.
importance of sunlight, importance of floor plan. I'll tell you one
Right.
common mistake which most of the home buyer does, right? They're saying keep people make decisions not on logic but on emotions.
Yeah.
So home buying is a emotional decision, correct?
True.
So
True.
lot time customer come कि अरे वो घर बहुत पसंद आया मेरे को.
Mm.
Why? Because it was very well decorated. It
Mm.
was neat and clean home, correct? So if you think logically to make the home neat and clean, it costs you 6,000 rupees. You hire a
Mm.
professional to get the deep cleaning done.
True.
Okay, neat and clean, right?
Okay.
If the
Yes.
painting is not so great, you pay around 20,000 rupees, make the house look great.
True.
How much you're paying for the property? 2, 3 CR, right?
Yes.
So now there's something called aesthetic appeal. So we educate the home buyer कि don't fall for the aesthetic appeal when you're buying a
Mm.
house. Look at the floor plan
Mm.
because your floor plan won't change. It will remain the same, right? Direction of sunlight won't change. It will remain the same. Color you can change. It hardly 50,000 rupees. So don't go by the interior. Don't go by the look and feel, right?
Mm.
Look at the ventilation. Look at
True.
the flow of energy. Look at the sunlight. Look at the view, right?
True.
So those things are written in the document. Then we have one more document called legal due diligence. Okay, what are the documents required to do the legal due diligence? But more than that, we also guide the home buyer. Okay, these are the mistakes which you have noticed in last 10 per years done by your lawyer. See, we all are human beings. We all make mistakes.
Right.
It will happen. We also do, right? But
Yes.
having a checklist of the list of mistakes, it helps, no?
Mm. Absolutely.
So now as a buyer, I'm aware that these things can be ignored by my lawyer. So there is a additional person check all those points basically. So whatever I have learned in last 10 to it's all documented.
All right. So basically, you have just created the entire document so that everything is written and everything is process oriented, and which
Yes.
eventually helps and understand that the question that we're discussing about trust and transparency. So to a very great extent, it solves that, and no anyone who wants to either buy a property, they can trust you more, and anyone who wants to sell their property, eventually they can trust you more compared to a other person who is just simply has no documentation and just trying to convince and not motivate. What you say, उनको घुमा रहा है, towards कि उनके उनके साथ वो deal हो जाए, so that gives a lot. All right, so we had a lot of things to discuss, and on a final question, I would like to ask you that what is the advice that you would give to a buyer and a seller? If they come to you and they will sell like Manoj bhai apna घर मुझे बेचना है, या somebody is like मुझे खरीदना है. So what is the advice that you would give 2025 and going ahead? So your final advice.
So for a seller, I would tell him if you have decided to sell the property, correct? So typically they have a number in their mind,
Mm.
correct? I want to sell this price based on the quotation or the what I heard from the market point of view. And
Mhm.
if as a broker I tell you higher price, you will hand over keys to me, correct? If the market is 2.5 CR, I say 3 CR, then
ऐसा
I
होता है
would
ना,
have.
ऐसा होता है एक्चुअली, होता
यही
है.
होता है यही
अच्छा,
होता है
यही होता है.
right? But the sale happens at the market price,
True.
not at the price which you want, basically.
Obviously.
right? Because the way you are, buyer also equally well informed, correct? Now, by waiting at for 3 CR, you have wasted 3-4 months of your time.
True.
Then you start, okay, make it 2.75. Then after 6 months, you sell it for 2.6. Why 2.6? Because 6 months ago it was 2.5. In 6 months, prices appreciated by 10 lakh rupees.
True.
Now look at the much bigger loss, much bigger loss. The bigger loss, 6 months of waiting time period.
Right.
If you would have put that money in the bank, would he earn more than 10 lakh rupees in last 6 months? Answer is yes. But more than the money, it's a peace of mind, right?
Right.
The utilization of fund, right? Whatever is planned, everything is fair now, right? So my simple advice is always cross check with somebody other. Turn your role as a buyer. Ask the same agent or some other agent. I want to buy this property. What best you can get me? So now you know the real price, some range you know basically, right? Okay, this is the market price. So same advice we give to the buyer in terms of pricing part. But more than that, in case of buyer, right, they should be very, very careful about the legal due diligence of the property. Correct. Second, about the location of the property. Right. Third, the trend. Right. What is coming, what is going in that area, basically, right? So those
Yes.
two things are extremely important. Sunlight, ventilation, extremely important.
Floor plan. Don't go with the aesthetics. True, absolutely. बाकी तो चीजें you can change, but एक बार आपका जो floor plan है that remains the same for entire duration. All right. So thank you so much, Manoj for being on this
Welcome.
show and the important points that we discussed. From the things that have changed. Digitization of the documents and your own journey that you shared. From IT to completely non-IT field and how you have learned everything. And the advice that you're giving to the sellers, don't go just for the word that broker is saying. Cross check in the market, and for the buyers that again they have to don't go only for the color and the aesthetics. Go for the things which is more fundamental, right? So that was very insightful, and I'm sure anyone who will watch this video will definitely get some valuable stuff. And what's the thing, if let's say if anybody wants to connect with you, how they can connect it, and
So we are like getting active in social media. They can come to our website agarwalestates.com. In
okay.
LinkedIn,
So I'll
I'm
put
very much
that your
active.
set. Okay, you are LinkedIn on. Yeah. So I'll put all
I'm
your
very
social
active.
media handles in the description of this video. So if anyone wants to connect, they can connect with you. And
Any day, anytime.
so yeah, all right. Thank you so much, Manoj. It was pleasure connecting with you, and we look forward.
Thank you for having me.